Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and I just finished the Festive Readathon, which was from the 6th through the 12th. This was done by Steph Loves. I'll leave her channel linked below. I'm really glad I did the readathon, though it made me reaffirm why I was never interested in doing a readathon before. I enjoyed the prompts, I enjoyed the books I picked, but it's just kind of the time frame and such. So I think if I ever participate in a readathon again, I will definitely modify it to suit my needs, maybe just using the prompts, but then kind of scheduling it out like I would normally do. But the first prompt is festive word in the title, and the book I chose is Historical Christmas Stories with 1990, which has 3 different stories by 3 different authors. I got this book because it has In From the Cold by Nora Roberts, and this was on my list of Nora Roberts books that I needed to still get. And the funny thing is, though, the Nora Roberts story in this book, I actually already have. So she does like family groups, and one of them is the McGregors, and so in From the Cold follows Ian McGregor, which is the same story that is in this book, Daniel and Ian. So I actually already had it, but I'm really glad I have this one because I enjoyed the other 2 stories in this as well. So I'll go ahead and kind of go through. In From the Cold, it has Alana and it follows Ian. Ian's a Minuteman who was part of the Boston Tea Party, and he ends up getting into a scuffle with the British soldiers and gets injured and ends up at Alana's place where she lives with her father and her 2 brothers. She is actually a widow. And so this is obviously during the revolution and such, but they, of course, it's a romance, so they end up falling in love. But she has lost people multiple times. Her mom, her older brother in war, and her husband to a fever, not war. But anyway, she kind of has this block on the war because she is afraid of losing other people and she's afraid of losing her younger brothers. And so yeah, so she's kind of against it, but he's a fighter. So anyway, that kind of caused an issue, but of course it all works out in the end. Pretty enjoyable. I like the premise of it. It's a nice short read. The next one was probably my favorite. It's called Miracle of the Heart by Patricia Potter, and it's the Civil War. And you have Blythe, who basically runs an orphanage unofficially. These children just found her. And then she's kind of trapped between 2 brothers who are on either side. So you have Seth, who became a doctor for the South, and then you have Rafe, who ended up going to fight for the North. And so that creates issues. They're actually from the South, and Rafe ends up getting sent back, which creates this whole tangle of a mess. And Rafe and Blythe were supposed to be married before the war started, and they ended up not getting married, but she said she would wait for him. But it's been 4 years, 2 years with no communication whatsoever. And we find out that somebody had told Rafe that she was going to marry his brother. So, there's that big tangle, plus they're on opposite sides of the war. This book made me cry though, or the story. There's I'm not gonna give it out direct, but there's a song called Bellewood by Garth Brooks. And I guess there was a truce. I think it's based on somewhat of a true story. There was a truce in 1914 on Christmas, and that's what the song is basically based on. And there's a moment, and it has the kids, all the kids. You have the Confederate side and the Union side, and it's a big tangle. And that moment just gave me chills and definitely made me cry. So I really did enjoy that. And then the third book is called Christmas at Bitter Creek by Ruth Lingen, and this one follows Matthew Braden and Laura Connors. Laura is in a small town and she's a school teacher, and when she was growing up, Matthew was her sweetheart, but basically her father told Matthew he couldn't court his daughter, and they couldn't get married or anything like that. Because Matthew's family's kind of a little rough. His brothers are kind of troublemakers and things like that. And so he ends up getting injured and coming back, and um, they're trying to figure it all out, because they still obviously have feelings for each other, but she doesn't like that violence or anything like that either. And there's kind of a twist to that too. So that was really enjoyable as well. All three of these stories were super easy to read, very enjoyable, kind of warmed your heart, and yeah, really perfect for Christmas. So I really did enjoy those. The next prompt is Snow on the Cover, and I chose A Gift of Hope by Danielle Still. This one, it does have kind of a strong religious vein in it, but it's not like she's trying to preach or push it down your throat or anything. That's just her own personal views. So even if you aren't very religious, don't believe in God, I think you would still enjoy this, because everybody kind of gets a voice in their head sometimes to push them to do something, whether you believe in God or not. And she was pushed into kind of helping the homeless. Um, this was after she lost her son, and that was something that was kind of important to him. And so she talks about the 11 years where she went and she helped the homeless, along with a group of her friends and staff and such. And so, yeah, I think it was a very beautiful story and very honest, because I think we all, she admitted that she had always shied away, from the homeless and such. And I think we all kind of have that instinct, and she does talk about that. And it does kind of, it's a little bit redundant in the beginning, like she ends up bringing up the same point over and over again, but it kind of smooths out by the end. And I did mark one spot, and she's basically talking about how she kind of judges people by their looks, and um it kind of scares her. And sometimes they can be less frightening if you start talking to them. Sometimes they become more frightening. And she said, in my earliest days on the streets, on a night when several very disturbing looking people ran up to me, I pulled myself together and thought, if Jesus came to me looking like this, man, would I run, or would I stand right where I am, face him, and embrace him? And I really like that line, and because I think it really is easy to see people that look a certain way and kind of judge them and instinctively draw back. And marked it because I wanted to tell a story that kind of went along with it. So when I was working in the veterinary clinic, we had this couple come in. They were young, but very dirty, kind of smelly, and they had a sick puppy. And I remember the way their demeanor was, like they were kind of like very defensive, expecting a battle. They filled out the paperwork with just their name and their puppy's information, no address, no phone number, and I was like, we really need that, like you don't have anything. And they're all, no, we take the train, and we hop on the train and just travel. We have no home, we have no phone, no money, nothing. And it was like, well, payments due at time of service, so you're not going to be able to pay for the service at all. And you can see that they were very defensive. And we have a group in the town I live that helps people out with their veterinary bills, but they do expect to be paid back, which was obviously not an option for this couple. And there was no way to get in contact with them or anything like that. And so you can see she just was very defensive, looked kind of defeated before we ever began. And so I ended up calling this group, and I explained the situation. And it was like, they're just traveling. They don't have a home, like they don't have a phone, they don't have money. But this puppy is sick and needs help. Like, you won't get the money back, but are you willing to help them? And they did. They ended up covering, just basics, basic exam, basic beds, like nothing above and beyond. um, and just help this couple. And when I told the couple that, their whole demeanor changed. And I'm assuming like they probably get judged all the time and get turned down all the time because they don't have money. And so I really that was a touching moment for me, because you end up getting kind of jaded and you judge people, and we were able to help these people out. So that kind of made me think. That part made me think of that couple and how if they had gotten anybody else in the clinic I worked at, they wouldn't have tried that hard to figure out a solution for them. And so that was one moment I'm very proud of, that I looked past their exterior and really tried to come up with a solution for them. So I thought that was really beautiful. The next two I'm not going to really talk about. I'm just going to mention briefly here, but I'm going to do an update on them. I'll do a separate ABC author video where I'll kind of deep dive into these two because they are both ABC author books. So the first one was my most anticipated read, and that one I chose Kingdom of the Golden Dragon by Isabel Allende. I love this one. It is the second in a trilogy. Really should read the first one first, which is City of Beasts, and then there's a third one which is called The Forest of the Pygmies. But there is a lot of backstory. She does a great job. You're able to read this one easily without having read the first one, but you can tell, knowing that there's another one, that you are missing that whole story. You're just getting like little snippets. It's kind of like, getting secondhand information versus being there. And so really enjoyed this. It follows Alexander and Nadia and or Alexander's grandmother. You have the king of the Forbidden Kingdom, and then Tenzing, who is a monk, a Buddhist monk, um, and he's training the prince so he can become king. Like, absolutely beautiful. And there's, people trying to come and steal the golden dragon. Like, very, very, very good book. I will, like I said, we'll talk about this more in depth in my ABC author video. So if you want to know more about this, go check out that video. But if not, definitely encourage you to get this trilogy. Like I said, the first one is City of the Beast, but very, very good book. The next prompt was act of self care. So I actually, Tuesday of this challenge, which I think was like the second day or something, I actually had a really bad headache and I did not feel well. I actually didn't feel very good this whole week. So it kind of worked that I could just read. And so I ended up making some hot cocoa. I get the little Belvita bites. I'll do a picture. And then I ended up watching While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. It's one of my absolute favorite movies ever, and I especially enjoy it during Christmas. So I just snuggle in with my hot cocoa and my little snack, and I watched that movie. So that was pretty enjoyable. Then you have a free space, and then the next one is the book I didn't read, and I chose for it has red or green on the cover, and I chose Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien, and this is just a collection of he would write letters to his children, and so this is just a collection of all those letters. And they were letters from Father Christmas. He presented them, but they have actual pictures of the letters themselves, which was really fun. So this isn't really a book that you just sit and read. It's kind of one that you look through. But what I really enjoy about this is some of the letters are kind of hard to read, and it puts it, just in plain text for you. So I'm still going to keep this out. I'm still going to glance through it, but I did not get to this one during the readathon. But several of the others fit the prompt. Gift of Hope has red on the cover. Historical Christmas has red and green on the cover. And so those both fit the prompt just fine. And so I did fill the prompt. I just kind of doubled up. But I was originally trying to have a book for each prompt. So the next one is an illustrated cover. And again, I had a couple books that could fit this. The one I chose was my next read for my ABC Author Challenge, which is Wintertide by Ruth Anna Emery's. And this one, so good. Um, Very complex, but again, I will talk about this one more in depth in my ABC author video. But I really did enjoy this one. It kind of uses the Cthulhu mythos. Um, and it's very academic, and I really enjoyed the characters and everything like that. So if you get a chance, I would say read this one. It's not going to be a book that's for everybody, but I really did enjoy it. So um, definitely check out my ABC author video, and you'll get more information on that one. The next prompt is set in winter. This book would have also worked for the illustrated cover, but I chose Laura Ingalls Wilder, The Long Winter, for this prompt, and just so enjoyable. It is a bit redundant, but it works so well for the story because I mean that's what they're suffering through, is the redundancy of this winter, and just every day the same when they're stuck in these blizzards and such. So really enjoyed this one as well. Um, I The only thing I didn't like about reading this for the readathon was I haven't read the books in quite a while, not since my nieces were little, like, and they're in their 20s now. So um I wish I had refreshed myself on the other books, because there's some mentions that I knew what they were talking about, but at the same time, it wasn't very fresh in my memory. So, but of course, the Little House on the Prairie books by Laura Ingalls Wilder follows her when she was little, and kind of growing up on the prairie and such. And yeah, this one was very enjoyable, even though it was just kind of redundant over and over again. But I really enjoyed revisiting this one. I don't know if I actually ever read this one, because I was missing this one and Little House on the Prairie from the collection I had, and I don't know if those were lost before they got to me or after. Um, this one didn't seem very familiar, so I don't think I had ever read this one, but I did enjoy it, and it was nice revisiting, this family essentially. So, and then the last prompt was watch a festive movie, and I actually watched two. Originally, I was gonna watch the Cinderella Christmas, but I ended up watching Noelle with Andrew Kendrick on Disney Plus. Absolutely love that one. I watched it, multiple times since it came out. And so yeah, I enjoyed that one, watching that one again. And then I did end up watching the Cinderella Christmas one. That one's my absolute favorite. I watch it frequently, like especially like if I can't sleep or something, I'll put that one in because I'm very familiar with it because I watched it over and over. But I really enjoy that one. It's kind of a little bit cheesy, but I enjoy it. So so those are the two movies I watched for a festive movie. So but that's all the prompts. I really did enjoy all of these. I think I had a good group of books here that I really enjoyed reading. And I think those ones, this set right here, were that one's not included. Were super easy to get through, and so I'm really glad I chose those for the readathon initially, especially because this one was kind of hard. It's very long, very complex, and this one's just a little bit longer, but it's a really easy read as well. And then this one, like I said, even though I didn't get to it, I'll definitely be keeping it up till Christmas and just glancing through it. If you have somebody in your family that you're not sure what to get for, this is a great gift. Whether they're J.R.R. Tolkien fan or not, whether they're a bookworm or not, just having the letters, I think it's just so cool. I actually got this one for my sister-in-law and bought myself a copy because I thought it was awesome. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. I know this video was a little bit longer, but check out my ABC author video. I don't know when that will come out, so if you're not already, subscribe, hit the bell notification, give this video a like while you're at it, and we will see you next time. Bye!